Hey, welcome to KNC Sales Tech Talk for sales professionals seeking to amplify the results with technology. I am Carla
And
Rodriguez.
I'm Kelly Goss. We are CRM and sales automation experts, and we're going to help you to demystify complex sales technologies. And in this episode, we're going to discuss when it's the right time to invest in a CRM. We've invited Eric Melcor, our really good friend and founder of B2B Pod Pros, to give us some insight into his sales process, where he is with his CRM adoption. So, welcome, Eric.
Hey, thanks, Kelly.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
We're excited.
So, Eric, please tell us about what you're doing. What is your business about? We have been seeing a lot of on it on LinkedIn, and please share us what
Yeah,
you're
I
doing
like
now.
to think that we help accelerate trust at scale for B2B brands through podcast sponsorships. And if you're in the B2B space and you're trying to buy ad spots on some of the big ad networks like Spotify, Gumball, or even Acast, well, that experience, in my opinion, that experience sucks. And the reason being is that those large networks, they want podcasts that have monthly downloads of 10,000 downloads or month for each of their podcasts that are in their network. Well, if you're a B2B podcaster, you're not generating 10,000 downloads or more a month. If you're actually a top one, you're probably just generating maybe 1,000 a month. So you're sort of left out in those big ad networks. And that's where we come in. We manage everything from beginning to end. You tell us who your target audience is, what your budget is, and we put together a custom proposal for you and present you 5 to 10 podcasters who we believe would make a great fit for your campaign. You have the power to decide if you want them in your campaign or not. And then after we agree which creators are going to be part of your campaign, we take care of everything else. Things like creating the ad itself for you, providing the UTM tracking links, coordinating and managing everything with the podcasters. It's like having a fractional influencer marketing manager on your team. So that's who we are, and that's what I'm doing.
Cool. That sounds great.
Wow.
Yeah. So with that in mind,
Interesting.
Eric, I mean, obviously you need to be able to get your customers so that you can run through your process to deliver this awesome service. So why don't you give us some insights into how your current sales process is working right now? So what are you using for managing your sales process? Are you using any kind of prospecting tools like LinkedIn, and how does that fit into your sales strategy? So
Absolutely.
just give us a synopsis.
Absolutely. There's two things that I'm relying on right now. One is just LinkedIn, writing content about what I'm doing, trying to educate my audience on there. And then the second thing is referrals. And I first started by messaging anybody that I had a conversation with on LinkedIn through DMs, direct messages within the last 90 days. I would send a sample message. Just saying, hey, I'm working with content marketers and heads of marketing at SaaS businesses, helping them reach new audiences and generate high quality leads. If you know anybody, I'd happily give you a commission. And by the way, here's a simple messaging that you can use to send them that it has a little bit more information about B2B Pod Pros. After that, I started focusing on my network connections specific to a geography. So, for example, I'm in Romania. I started, messaging everybody in my network that was based in Romania, and I used the same script, but I would personalize it a little bit. And at the very top, I would just change it to something like, "Hey, are you still wearing your Marty Short?" And a Marty Short is like it's a local custom that happens like the first week of March. And if you're Romanian, you know what I'm talking about. But it sounds very personal, and I got a really good response that way. So if I start working on another region, obviously I'm going to personalize it in such a way that, for example, Carla, if you're in South America, I would find out what's happening in your specific country around that time and try to personalize it by mentioning something in that message. So you asked me about different tools. I'm not very sophisticated right now. I'm mostly using Notion to record all my leads. In terms of the leads, I mark them as if they're a cold lead or a warm lead, or if I sent a proposal or not. I include the date that I made contact with a person, and then I have this little calculation in a column that basically says 1 week later from that date to follow up. That's about as as sophisticated as my CRM gets right now. But it's more of like a manual entry into Notion. I definitely use Google, Google Sheets, Google Docs. So for if I'm sending a template or a proposal, I have a Google Doc that as a template for the proposal, and I'll make a copy and paste of that doc, and I'll fill in the necessary information for that specific proposal. And of course, I'm using Gmail to send everything. And it's more of like a copy and paste on various Google Docs, and then also utilizing Notion right now. I don't have a CRM in place right now, but I do realize that that's something that I want to use in the future. My website that I'm using, it's not even giving me any notifications right now. I actually have to log in every morning to see if there's been any leads through the website. I do think that I could probably use Zapier to integrate the website with maybe a Gmail notification. It's something that I really haven't looked into because I'm just not getting a lot of leads right now from the website. It's still a new business. But I know that there's probably some automation that I can do. But right now, I'm just trying to figure things out as I go along.
Sure, and thinking that you actually all your leads come from LinkedIn, and keeping it up with the following. I know that Notion. I mean, if you do a list, you are going to put the names of your list and maybe the link of the profile, so you go directly to them. I think that there are some other tools to help you overcome the challenge of following up, and also seeing directly on your CRM the
Yeah.
conversations that you had with this person. So maybe you should think of not only a CRM but also a good integrator from LinkedIn to your CRM. And actually, Notion, I love it. I have to say, I really like it, and they have very good templates for a lot of cases, like a CRM. But the thing is, they don't have this synchronization with LinkedIn
Yeah.
yet, and I think that they don't even have that with the email. So I think maybe if your challenging is going to communicate with all these people you are amazingly and naturally, organically inviting with this personalization that I love that way. So I think that this will help you to have a blueprint and have, I mean, everything there, all the conversation, the data, and the emails also in one place, to you being able to keep it up following, and not only putting cold warm, but following a process until you close. Um, I think that maybe this is one of your biggest challenges. Or what other challenge do you
No,
think you have now?
absolutely. I didn't even know there was tools out there that could integrate with LinkedIn and Notion. I didn't even know that was feasible because right now it's just more of, okay, this person's interested. Let me copy that information, their information, and then pasting it into a Notion doc or a Google Sheet. And same thing with the people who are referring me customers or potential customers, right? Having a separate Google Sheet for those people. And so I can keep track and whether or not a deal closes and whether or not they earn commission. So I would be very interested to figure out or learn more about those tools that do integrate and capture some of that information that's happening in the LinkedIn DM and can automatically sync it over to Notion if that's possible.
And
It's not possible to Notion, but I'm sorry, but it's possible, for example, with Pipedrive. Yes,
I
please
was
carry.
actually going
I
to
was
say, I
interrupting.
mean, we can talk about the differences between Notion and like a specific CRM like Pipedrive, for example. But just as an interim while you're deciding to move to a more specific CRM, you can actually use, because we've just had some discussions or an interview on Surf, which is a prospecting tool to help you connect LinkedIn and CRMs, but they don't have an integration with Notion. But they do actually have an integration with Google Sheets, which then you could actually get those prospects onto a Google Sheet and use Zapier to push that information from the Google Sheet into Notion in an automation. But I think we should talk about, I mean, that's kind of like an interim thing that solves an immediate problem.
Mhm.
But we should talk a little bit about why using a tool like Notion, which can have some kind of CRM, as long as you structure it properly, you can use it as a makeshift CRM. But what are the benefits of using a tool like Pipedrive, which is specifically built for that purpose, for the sales process, to optimize it so that you get clarity? So maybe let's just have a little bit of a discussion about that. What do you think, Carla?
Yeah, because also there is, I mean, you can, I mean, like Kelly is saying, you can still use a Google Sheet with your Notion and, for example, Surf that can integrate with LinkedIn. But what are going to be your needs
Yeah.
in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? I mean, your business is going to grow and you will need maybe someone who helps
Oh
you,
yeah.
right? And who is able to see the same things that you have been
Yep.
doing for a
Mm-hmm.
long time and keep it up with that, you know? So in that case, I mean, a CRM is a better option than Notion. I'm not saying Notion is not a good tool. It's a great tool. I love it. Actually, what I do with Notion and LinkedIn is to put a list of all the people that talks about the same topics
Uh-huh.
I talk, and I have a list of these people, and I go to the profiles and keep it up commenting on the post because I know you
Right.
post frequently. And that's why I use Notion to keep out my notes about these people. And some of my notes, I write a lot there. So I think this is a great tool for that. But for keeping up with a lot, hundreds, because sometimes, I mean, maybe a day I do 20 invites per day. And if you multiply 20 invites per day by 20, then you have
Yep.
400 leads a month, right? To
Yeah.
follow up. And then if you multiply that by 6 months, half a year, then you have 2,400 leads. And then this keeps growing. And then you need to follow up. So imagine in your case in 2 and 3 years, how do you see yourself managing that amount of data?
Yeah. Well, so I'm not married to Notion by any means, and I think I'm definitely open to Pipedrive. I know a little bit about Pipedrive, and I think it's great for like a sales process. I've never really used it personally, but I know a lot of people who have, so I'd be very open to maybe even testing that. But the bigger challenge, though, for me right now is actually managing the campaigns. And so when a campaign launches for a client, right, there's a lot of things that need to happen. There's like the agreement that needs to get signed, back and forth, maybe the SOW, right? And then there is the management process with each of the podcasters. Maybe there's 7 podcasters involved in the campaign, and so they all need to get sort of like the work details. Like here's the script for the ad, here's the file location where you upload your ad, here's more information about the campaign, like maybe there's a discount code or a promo code that we need to use. And so there's a lot of back and forth that's happening for a campaign management, the process, for each campaign. So there's that issue as well. And right now, I'm just kind of using Gmail, where I create maybe a new contact list, and I'll put the people who are in a specific campaign, and I'll create a new list for them in contacts. And then I'm just kind of communicating through them through Gmail, through that way, and doing a lot of copy and pasting, either templates that I have in Google Sheets, that link to like a Loom video that show, okay, here's how to get started with launching the campaign. Here's information that you need, and other things. So I'm not really sure right now which is going to be the bigger headache, but I know that there's one aspect of the sales process, what I do with those leads that come in, and even current customers, current sponsors, and then also how do I manage like campaigns, with all the podcasters, because I have more than 20 podcasters in the community, and very easily, I think by the end of the year, that could be double. And I just don't see this scaling unless I have some sort of tool, whether it's a project management tool or something else, that can manage a lot of the back and forth between the podcasters and myself.
Yeah. And I think this could be a whole nother episode on its own about project management capabilities in a tool like Pipedrive versus whether or not it's better to use project management tool in something else. And you might find that Notion is the right tool for you for the project management aspect for your podcast campaigns. Maybe it is. But just to mention that, some CRMs kind of have that project management tool, and if it's a basic process that isn't too complex, there's stuff that you can do within Pipedrive, for example, like sending out templated emails as soon as your deal has converted. So once you've signed this campaign, you can send out an automated email that says, hey, well, this is all the information that you need. This is how you prepare. This is going to be the structure, whatever you need to have in there. But it also has a projects module, which is relatively basic. I wouldn't say, and again, a whole nother conversation here
Yeah.
about what's appropriate and what's not. But, being able to use capability and features within a tool that has lots of different things that you can do that are outside of the sales process, is kind of important. But if that particular feature, like the project tool in Pipedrive, doesn't work for you, you then got the option of integrating your CRM with your project management tool using a tool like Zapier to then kick off an automated process where you have checklists for different things to manage your podcasters, things for the campaigns, all of that kind of stuff.
That is so good to know. Because obviously, if I'm not busy jumping around to different tools, that's better for me. I'd rather try to do as much as I can in one tool, whether that be Pipedrive or something else. That's music to my ears, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah, I have some clients that they manage end-to-end process until delivery in Pipedrive,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, it's something very efficient, right? And I think maybe you should take a look. And by the way, what it seems like an affordable cost for you if you were ready to invest in a CRM, for example, what you think?
Yeah,
What
I mean,
comes to your
before I
mind?
would invest in a CRM, I would actually invest in hiring a consultant, an automation expert, and just show them here's my processes for example, my lead process, and then also my campaign process, right? And then maybe even my accounting process, right? Because there's like the documents and agreements that have to get signed, there's payments that I need to make to the
Mhm.
podcasters.
I
So there's like all
know.
these checklists that I have, maybe there's 4 or 5, and just kind of best document them in clear detail, maybe even create a Miro board as well. And just so the automation consultant knows exactly everything that I'm doing and then what tools that I'm using currently, and then have them either suggest or recommend, either a tool that could do a lot of this work for me, or just maybe even simplify or streamline the process. So I think once I had that first, and if there was a tool that I needed to pay, I mean, comfortably, I'd be happy to pay anywhere from like $100 to $200 a month. Keep in mind, I'm a solopreneur right now. I'm not doing big business. I mean, leads probably right now no more than 30 a month. So I think a CRM tool that's suitable for my size business. I'm not sure what the range is for, but like I said, up to $200 a month is what I'd probably be happy with.
And I think that's
Well, I
interesting,
think
isn't it? Sorry to cut you off there, Carla. That's interesting because actually that's super realistic in terms of having an affordable budget. But actually, the reality is that tools like Pipedrive are a lot cheaper than that. You don't for the subscription you would probably need, you'd be paying a lot less than that, even maybe if you needed extra things for integrations.
Really?
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, you can be starting with $30 per month for an account that actually gives you email integration, the templates that you need, and automations, and maybe you can also add smart docs for your
Yeah.
documentation and the signings, which will add $30 plus, which is going to be 60. And if you want to integrate your LinkedIn, then we are talking about 55, I think, plus, which it is going to be 85, $90 per month. And then you have, I think, mostly your end-to-end
Mm.
covered.
There you
Yeah.
go. Boom.
In,
Eric, you look in awe.
you see, this is like, you don't know what you don't know. And I thought this is probably going to be a lot more expensive in my mind. But I had no idea that there are tools out there that could probably do, a large chunk of everything that I'm doing. So my goal right now is to really kind of document everything in the next 30 days, and then consult with you guys, and say, here's everything that I do, and what's your recommendation? Is it Pipedrive, or is it stay with Notion, or is it use a bit of both? Because obviously for that amount of money, I'd be happy to get started right away. Better to get started now than like 2 years from now.
Absolutely. Getting it right at the beginning
Yes.
is super important.
Yes.
And the way that you're thinking of mapping your process is the right
Yeah.
way to do. Exactly
Absolutely.
that way. Because otherwise, you're going to just start. And I love your answering of I rather put my process from end to end, analyze it, and then talk to an expert and then implement. That's the way to do it. Even if if the investment is small, I mean, if you multiply by 12 a year and another year, and then it's better to have it right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Return on investment is going to
Yeah.
be so much bigger.
Well, the time saved,
Yeah.
right? Because without systems in place, the manual work that's having to be done and replicated and, over and over and over, it's very time consuming. And I'm not going to be able to grow if I don't have systems in place and tools that help me with the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're thinking definitely in the right way, Eric. All of this stuff is like positive, big positive. Get it started now.
Yeah. I'm even compelled to look at my calendar and say, let's put a date on the calendar 30 days from now. And just so that I have this fire under my butt to get this stuff documented and everything ready. In fact, let's do that after the conversation ends here.
Yeah, or maybe another episode.
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah. It could be like
Maybe,
something like,
maybe.
hey, 3 months ago we chatted with Eric, and this is how he's doing right now, or something like a before and after. Like the before picture, you even have like it's all gray hair. I'm all sad. I look real tired, and then the after picture, I look much younger.
Black and white, and then
Yeah. I
color.
got the Corona beer in my hand, over there by the beach.
And the palm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you're watching right now, watch this space. We're going to be back with Eric in a few months.
All right.
Excellent.
Eric, this has been super insightful into, what you're doing right now. And I think we've talked about so much stuff in terms of challenges and when is the right time for you to invest in something that is more specific to the sales process. And I think we're all in agreement that the best way forward with this is to show everybody how we might be able to improve Eric's sales process. So next steps are we're going to talk about the existing process that Eric's got. He's going to show us some stuff in Notion that he's got working. What does Google Sheets look like? And we're going to explore some process maps so that we can understand the process a little bit better. And then we'll do another episode that talks about the recommendations that we think are going to be the best thing for Eric. And then we'll go from there. So I think that's a pretty good, exciting way to go. What do you think?
I'm super excited.
Love it. We are going to streamline Eric live.
Live is going to be very different, Eric.
tuned.
Different.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the next episode. And thank you, Eric, for being
Thank you,
with us.
Eric.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everybody. Bye-bye.